Well, I was about to come out here and grab this. This is what we're working on today. It has become a bit of a drainage diffuser, apparently. Oh man, that's gonna be fun to get out of there. All right, let me get that out. Let me explain to you guys what we're doing, what we're working on today. Oh, this thing looks really clean after getting rained on. Kind of worked out, I guess. Washed it for myself. So here's what we got. This is a horse manure spreader. There's 2 of these at my girlfriend's house. They have a bunch of horses, and obviously they use these to spread the horse poop around. So the first one broke similarly, but it only broke one side. But it broke off super jagged like this, and you know, I was looking at it. I'm like, doesn't look very strong for what this thing does. So I wanted to brace it and make it better and build new mounts for it and stuff. While I had it here, before I got to it, this one broke, but it broke, the whole axle ripped out from under it. So because of that, I needed to throw a quick fix on the other one, so I just kind of got it back in place, welded it back. I wasn't able to weld it like all the way across because there were some big gaps, but it was good enough to work and get them by because they use it every day, so they needed it back up and running. So now I have some time to actually take this one and fix it properly and make sure it doesn't break again. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna refurbish it and upgrade it, basically make it a little stronger so this doesn't happen again. Another thing, I think there's a contributing factor to them breaking. So basically with this unlatched, this drum should spin freely, or the wheels should spin independently of it. So when you're driving around without this locked in, it shouldn't be spinning, but both of them spin all the time, and you have to shove something in there to keep it from spinning and just spreading the poop out before you even get to where you're going to spread it out. So I think that's part of it. I think that might be adding strain. The other one was really, really tight and like really hard to pull, especially with the axles locked in. So basically what happens is you lock that, and then, here, let's do it this way. That locks, and then when the wheel turns, it turns the spreader and then spreads the horse poop out. So that's what we're working on today. We're gonna try to get this thing repaired, fixed up. I wanna clean it up, paint it, polish it, make it look nicer just because why not? So let's get this thing up on the workbench. So the first thing I need to do is just get this surface cleaned up and straightened out. It's a pretty jagged cut, or tear rather, where it ripped off. So I want to get this cleaned up and flattened out as best I can, and then we can start making our new mounts. Got this grinded down, cleaned up. Yeah, next step's gonna be cutting our plates out. So we need to measure this, determine how far down we wanna go, our leg, and then I wanna make some triangle braces too, so. All right, so we got 6.5 inches. Probably go down 2 inches, just to get as much weld on it as possible and as much material. And then we need to measure the axle itself for how far we need to come out. All right, so we got like right at 1.5 inches. So we'll just make it maybe 1 5/8 inches just to have a little overhang towards the wheel side. Let me measure this too, actually, out of curiosity. Yeah, 6.5, or it's 6 inches for the whole thing. We can fit 6.5, so we'll just do that. All right, so I just drew this 7.5 by, or 7 by 7-ish square, just so I know how much room we have on this plate. So we need to cut, we're not gonna be able to get all our pieces out of this plate, but we can get our 2-inch pieces. Oh, we might, we're real close. All right, so let's try it here. So there's one 2-inch, another 2-inch. Then we got 1.5 inches. So we'll shift this over a little bit here. Sweet, yeah, we can get pretty much everything out of this one. Now we just need to cut it up. The bandsaw is definitely my preference when it comes to cutting aluminum because it cuts through it really quickly because aluminum's so soft, and you end up with a really clean, ready to go cut. You don't have to sit there with a grinder and grind it down and even it out and clean it up. You just cut it and it's ready to go. You got a nice clean edge to work with, and I mean, that's it. Got our plates cut out, so basically 2 inch, 1.5 inch. Gonna weld them like that. Just says like an angle, and then weld that to this like that. It's a little long. It's like right at around 7 inches, 7.5. That's what it ended up as, and I'm okay with that because it doesn't really matter if it's, oh well, I'm wrong. Check it out. Might interfere with the, well, that can't be right. Yeah, it might interfere with the wheel, so I'm gonna shorten all this. All right, we've now got our pieces cut to the correct lengths, so we're good there. I want to go ahead and make the little braces. I don't know what I want to use. These would be a little too small. Do it like that. These aren't that crucial. Just need something. Got our little braces. I'm gonna build my angle brackets first, and then once they're built, I'm gonna weld them onto this. So with the TIG welding on this project, I was on struggle bus in the struggle seat on the way to Struggle City to visit Struggle Street. I just kept having so many issues. Like, it just did not want to weld well. It was just like all these sorts of like weird combinations, and I'd kind of get it to work right and make it work and get it done enough. So I figured it was just me, but it turns out to be another issue. All right, angle brackets are welded. Man, I was a little rusty. We got a decent run here, but when I hit the tack, the problem, though, I think to me the hardest thing about welding, TIG welding aluminum, is basically with TIG welding, you need to keep your tungsten, your electrode, as close to where you're welding as possible, because that keeps the heat focused in a certain area. If you have it too far away, the rod will melt as you're trying to put the rod in, and you'll be melting a bunch of other stuff, and you just need to be as close as possible. The problem, or the difficulty with aluminum, is that as you're doing that, I mean, you're so close. You're riding that fine line of like not touching the tungsten into the molten aluminum and keeping it close enough. So what can happen is you can add, it's so easy to add too much rod or be too close when you go over a tack, and when it melts, it swells up and goes straight into the tungsten and then trashes the tungsten. So I was having some trouble with that, but I'm getting it back. It's been a while since I've done aluminum. It's been a few months. So anyway, we got that part welded. We need to weld our little corner braces on like so. Whatever. You get the point. And then we need to weld them onto the cart. Brackets are done. They did not come out very good. I think I'm running out of gas. I just didn't believe that I guess it's, oh yeah, it's like on empty. It just, my tank went from being like half full, and then I checked it like the next time I welded and it said it was empty, so, or almost empty. So I think we're running out of argon, and it's getting a little meh, but I think we should have enough to do it. Worst case, we'll go pick some up. Do they make this style clamp in like metal? Because my problem with this is I always melt these. You can see it, they're pretty melted. Just from doing stuff like this. Like, you do one tack and the thing starts melting. So I need to get some metal ones, but I don't like the Bessie clamp, like screw style ones. I'd rather have just like the quick grip. Can you do it like this? I don't think so. No. I mean, that might work enough to do what we need to do. Like I said, we're just gonna melt this thing like immediately. But we'll give it a shot. Try it out. I might go get some more argon before I keep doing this, because it's just not going well. Like, I'm definitely a little rusty, but not that rusty. All right, I'm getting more gas. I think my hose might be pinching too. Can you see that? Yeah, look at that. I think I have another hose. I might try to change the hose on this too. It's just not, like it won't even puddle right. Like normally when you start welding with aluminum, when you get it to puddle, it's clean and clear, and then like maybe you mess up and dab the rod too early or something, but like it just like will not even start a clean puddle. It was doing the same thing on the bracket. Like the inside weld was okay, but when I had them tipped up on their side and I was welding them, I think just like the slightest bit of breeze was blowing just that last bit of gas away. So I don't know, I need to fill the bottle anyway, so I'm gonna go fill the bottle and then we'll knock this out. There's no reason to struggle through it and make real crappy welds when you could do it better, so. I built this welding cart probably like a year ago now, something like that. Not too long ago, but one thing I wish I did differently is I almost wish I built individual welding carts, because it's such a heavy, big, unwieldy cart with both welders on it. It just would have been nicer to have them separated, but I'm really happy with how it came out. It looks nice. It's been sturdy, but it's just like I try to avoid moving it at all costs. I always forget I don't need to disconnect this hose. All right, now I just need to go dump the trailer, because last time my truck was hooked up to the trailer, I went and got gas, I used the Safiro, and they were not cool with me putting it in the trunk. So we're just gonna unhook the trailer and take the truck this time. Tight squeeze here and back here. Made it. All right, let's see if this welds any better this time. All right, that's a lot better. Definitely was running out of gas. So I'm gonna tack the other side and then we can test fit the axle and make sure we don't have any issues. right, so I have to take the wheels off to get it on. Which would make sense because the other times I've done this, it's been broken and I've just left the piece on, so I didn't have to get the wheel past the piece. I mean, I'm so close. I gotta take at least one wheel off, unfortunately. But I mean, it definitely looks like it's gonna work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and weld it out and then take a wheel off, put it on, drill it, mount it, all that stuff. Because I just really needed to check and make sure the bracket was in remotely the right spot. And it is. We got plenty of room to go forward or backwards. So I'm good with that. We're gonna let it ride. I'm just having a hard time, man. I don't know if it's because it's just dirty material. I'm gonna try cleaning it up some more, maybe acetone it. It's just not wanting to weld. Like, yeah, it's just not. It's not been easy for me, so more struggle bus with the TIG welding on this project, man. It's like sometimes it would weld okay, and it really wouldn't be that bad, and then it just started to get worse and worse and worse, you know? It was like, and like I said, I just assumed it was me being rusty, you know? I haven't welded aluminum in a while, but I mean, even when I was just starting out welding aluminum, things were going better than this, so, you know, I knew something had to be off. I just couldn't quite figure out what it was. I checked everything I could think of, and I hadn't really come up with anything. All right, I got the bottom side welded. Man, that was a freaking struggle. It was not welding great the whole time because this is really dirty aluminum, but it got like way worse where it just wouldn't even puddle. I was like, what the hell's going on? I could not figure it out. I cleaned the rods again. I was doing everything I could. Somehow my gas adjustment valve closed, my regulator, and it was just not letting like pretty much any gas out. So I adjusted that back up to 20 where I set it right before I started welding, and now it's fine. So I don't know, that's weird. I don't know how that happened, but it's fixed now. That regulator must be broken because it says that bottle's empty too, and that's a new bottle. So maybe I turned in a bottle that had plenty of gas left in it. All right, anyway, let's get back to work. All right, so now that we've got the regulator issue figured out and we've actually got the proper gas flow, it welded so much better. I'm still a little rusty, especially doing these uphill welds. That was a little tricky with the aluminum, but other than that, I mean, we didn't really have any problems from there on out. It must have just been a gas flow issue the whole time. I do wonder if my bottle was actually low on gas or if the regulator was just wrong. Because like I said, I checked it and like I checked it, it was half full. I welded, I went to check it the next time and then it said it was empty. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but who knows? We got a fresh bottle, so that's all that matters. All right, the mounts are all welded up. It was really tricky. Welding dirty aluminum like this is just a struggle. It just did not want to weld good. And then this piece being so big and this being so small, they're similar thickness, but basically it takes a lot longer to get this whole piece of aluminum up to the same temp that this is. So this would start puddling super easy and this didn't want to puddle, and it was just tricky. It was definitely like a really, really tricky weld, one of the harder ones I've done. So we got it done though, so that's what's important. So now that these are done, we need to take this wheel off, get this up there, drill our holes, mount our axle, put the wheel back on. So pop this guy off. That was a little easier than I remembered. All right, looks good. So with the holes drilled, all we had to do was get the axle on and get it lined up. So there's kind of a tight clearance between the front and the back. So we had to do a little jimmy in and back and forth to try to get it lined up well to where the gaps were even left to right and front to back so that, you know, basically that it scraped correctly. I mean, that's all I could figure. We ended up having to take this other wheel off too just to get to the bolts. So I should have just taken both wheels off in the first place and made my life a lot easier. You know that whole do more work to do less work thing I always talk about? Yeah, that. All right, we got the tumbler axle, whatever you want to call it, on, bolted down. It's kind of tricky just because you got to get that spacing correct, so it's like real close on both sides. Just got to throw the wheels back on. I'm gonna wire wheel this and grease it up. force. Trinsifical.
Dude, leave him alone, okay?
Oh, much better. All right, got the cart all wrapped up. Everything works as it should. I wonder if both these will spin freely. Oh yeah, maybe they won't have the problem of this thing spinning with them. Yeah, so basically spins freely, that doesn't spin, and then you just lock that, and then that spins. I had to adjust it a little more, but we got it to where it's not hitting on either side, so we're good. Clearances are correct. So, alrighty, the poop cart is finished, back in action, and greasing where the wheels slide on, this thing doesn't spin anymore, because before when you were rolling without the hubs locked, that thing would just spin constantly. You'd have to shove something in there to keep it from just spreading poop the whole time you were moving. So that's good. I'm glad we fixed that too. Should be much stouter than before. Hopefully it shouldn't break again. Fingers crossed. And I'll get the next one from her and fix that one like this one if it holds up good. I really wanted to paint the wood on this and polish it up just as a surprise, because I thought it'd be funny to show up there with the thing like gleaming and painted and stuff, but I'm running out of time. I need to get it over there because they need it back because the other one is basically completely broken again. I'm gonna take it over there, so I'll bring you guys along and show you how it works, and we can see if it holds up and if everything's good. And I can introduce you guys to all the puppies and the ponies because they're all pretty cool. I like them a lot. I've never showed you, so let's get going. All right, so Chrissy actually brought this home. We're at her place now. So they got 10 acres. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 paddocks, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 stalls. So anyway, she's been using it for the past couple days, said it's working better than ever. Yeah, we're gonna try it out, but first I gotta introduce you guys to everyone. So we'll start over here. So this is the baby. She was born, how long ago? March. What's the date? It's like 5 months. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. She's a little busy, she's eating hay. She's a little bit of a rascal. Right, little one? Her name is Joy, AKA Little One. She likes to bite people. She likes to chew on their hands or their knees, whatever she can get to with her chompers. Ah. She's on a diet because she's getting fat. She likes butt scratches. You guys see her face. Let's look at the face. She makes such funny faces. So that's what a one. I know. Don't like your diet hay. Then over here, we have Flower, AKA Flower. Oh, this door, I gotta fix this. Flower! Christy would be mad at me for saying this, but Flower's my favorite. Be a movie star. Flower tried to eat the camera, so don't think that's gonna work. But this is Flower. She's a little preoccupied eating hay, but normally she likes to hang out. All right, Flower. All right, you can go back to eating your hay. So that's Flower. She was a year old a few months ago, so she's a year and some months old. And then you have Boss. So this is Chrissy's horse. Say hi, Boss. He's eating the scrounges left of his hay. He just likes to eat hay. He also enjoys other hobbies such as eating grass. And that's really about it. That's what Boss's day consists of, right, Boss? All right. He too likes butt scratches a lot. You scared of are you camera shy like your mom? Is that what's going on here, Boss? He's scrounging for every last piece of hay. I'd say that's working pretty good. No complaints. I got to get the straw out, but you got to go a little faster for that to work its way out. But it seems to be working good. It seems a lot better than it was before. The first couple times I've used it when it hadn't even been broken yet. So I think it's a little sturdier, and having the axles greased and stuff helped a lot. So I'm glad we got that one fixed. At least I'll have to fix the other one at some point because it's half broken now, but at least she's got one working manure spreader. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.